Footbag. What is it? Why are we here? We're here because of the wonderful sport that is footbag, also known as hacky sack. Now everyone knows what hacky sack is, but here's a little refresher anyway. Hacky sack is the brand name of footbag, a sport invented in 1972 by John Stahlberger and Mike Marshall. I'll save you the detailed history. For that, you could check out the great documentary by Elysium Films. They break down the history really well. For this video, we're simply going to recap the different eras of footbag, then talk about the current state of the game, and finally, the future. The first chunk of time is the 1970s with the creation of the sport by John and Mike. During this era, footbag rose up as an alternative activity with many grassroots tournaments and events. Many of the super OGs come from this time, so much so that I call it the founder generation. In the 1980s, John sold the hacky sack name to Whammo. With the help of many others, they promoted the sport to new heights. It was during this chunk of time that hacky sack became a household name and footbag became an international fad. A great deal of tournaments and sponsorship happened during this time. The 1990s saw the rise of technical play and freestyle thanks to the works of Kenny Schultz and Rippin' Rick Reese, among many others. The fad stage had died down, but the tournament scene was still going strong and the community was well established. This is the era that I started playing footbag, 1993 to be exact. Though there was less money in the sport, dedication was strong and footbag carried along. Now we get to the 2000s, otherwise known as the rise of the millennials. This was a new high for technical footbag in tournaments, though the mainstream fad stage was long past. Freestylers like Vashek Klauda, Jim Pinsky, Jan Weber, and in net, Manu Bouchard began dominating with an evolved level of play. It was the perfect storm of players and promoters from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s meeting all at once. Tournament entries were at an all-time high, and excitement and hype were on another level. The 2010s. No scene is without its ups and downs, footbag included. Looking back, I consider the years of 2011 to 2019 as drastically mixed. Some years were great in footbag, 2015 and 17 to note, but other years like the early 2010s brought much lower numbers of entries at tournaments. People were either retiring, getting injured, or simply moving on from the sport to pursue other interests. I wrote a similar article about this in 2013 named The State of Footbag. Overall hype was lower, but not extinguished. But here's where we get to the real tragedy, the 2020s. The sport had already taken a hit with footbag fatigue, but the pandemic really hit us hard. Ours wasn't the only sport that was affected, but since we were already in a downtime, it hurt that much more. Sadly, once the pandemic lifted, some people didn't return. Folks had simply gone digital and felt less need to venture out. Tournament numbers went to an all-time low, and many iconic players retired in this time due to age or injury. It was a rough time not just for our sport, but for everyone. But hey, they say it's always darkest before dawn. In recent years, a new trend has been growing. Zoomers have taken an interest in footbag, with more than a few making content on social media that draws thousands of views. The twist? This new generation is a little different than past ones. How? Well, they seem less interested in competitive footbag, at least for right now. And you know what? That's alright. Taking a step back to the 80s and 90s, some players warned what would happen if we went too far down the technical road. This includes the creation of the Big Ad Posse, which I'll get to in another video. Anyway, the concern was that if the sport became too technical, creativity would be lost. The sport did in fact become so technical that very few could play it at that high level. Those who did, well, more than a few players suffered injuries because of it. This can happen with any athlete. A technical level that high can simply be hard on your body. Does that mean the level shouldn't be pushed? Not at all. Technical freestyle is awesome, but it's by no means the only way to play footbag. Casual kicking is on the rise again, and I for one think that's great. In fact, many of the new kickers aren't as aware of the giants of the past, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It brings a fresh perspective on the sport and renewed energy. I wholeheartedly support this. Freestyle footbag and footbag net will always be around, and some people will always push it as far as possible. But many in this new generation seem content with just playing to whatever degree, making social media videos, and just kicking it around with friends. Many of them don't have footbag shoes, though they're still doing tricks to varying degrees. It's wild, but I would call the time we're going into as the reboot. Now, that doesn't mean ditching the past. Tournaments should always be the standard, just like any sport. But if large groups of people met up at simple jams just to casually kick and network, great. It's not a question of the sport going one way or another, but more if it can go multiple ways. The answer is yes. We already have Footbag net, freestyle, golf, and Footbag foursquare. Our scene is already super social, so having more cooperative play again would be great. This is reminiscent of the 70s before all the technicality and competitions came in. Now here's where we get to more topical issues that could affect Footbag. As more things can be faked or deep faked online, people might get motivated to seek more in-person experiences again, i.e. more people might want to touch grass again. This definitely benefits Footbag, which is at its best with real-world interactions. It's a real, tangible thing, which might become a lot more important in the near future. So what comes next? Well, if any indication from the 2025 US Open in Portland, Oregon, this new reboot path is really opening up to us. There were a lot of OGs at the event, but also many fresh faces and newer people who casually kicked there. Awesome! If you're new to the game and want to get more involved, we definitely welcome you. And whichever way you want to go with the sport, know there's a great community of people that are just happy to see you kicking. You can think of our tournaments as festivals. Everyone is encouraged to attend and play how they like. Competition is just one part of our events, with the largest part being our social scene. Internally, the sport is on the upswing, with more people playing freestyle and net again. If there's a takeaway from the history that I covered in this video, it's that Footbag goes in waves, ebbs and flows. Right now we're heading into a new time of growth across the board, and it's about time. Freestyle in particular is going through some innovative changes, adopting a more creative playstyle than it's seen in years. I'll talk more about it in future videos, but we'll say this, the change is a welcome and necessary one. And in net, more than 20 years after his last world title in singles, the Michael Jordan of our sport, Kenny Schultz, has retaken the crown. Nice work, Kenny. Anyway, moving forward, there are still issues to tackle. Sponsorship and funding are big ones, and presentation is another. I'll talk about those topics in other videos, but as of right now, it feels like a new page is turning in our sport. The key item to take away from all of this is people simply playing and being part of our scene. It doesn't matter whether you play net, freestyle, golf, foursquare, or casually kick, just as long as you play. And that's where I'll end it for today. Get out there and play, my friends. There's a world of good people to meet, and maybe, just maybe, Footbag can take you around the world.